Prince Andrew, this former trade envoy, this former Duke of York, privileged individual, royal pariah, the former security minister, Tom Tugendhat, bluntly described him as a very, very unwise individual, which I think sums him up quite well. To get to the heart of the matter, the curious case of this missing paperwork, it's not just enough that he's been caught out fraternizing with somebody who is an undesirable. Author Andrew Lowney, who spent 4 years trying to piece together Prince Andrew's activities during his tenure as the UK's Special Representative for Trade and Investment, has hit an administrative brick wall. Over 100 Freedom of Information requests yielded little more than the bureaucratic equivalent of a shrug. Departments ranging from the Foreign Office to the Department for Business and Trade appear to have either mislaid or withheld records. It's as though the Prince's tenure has vanished into the mist of time, leaving only tantalising traces of meetings, investments and potentially misadventure. Now, why does this matter? Because Andrew's time as trade envoy from 2001 to 2011 was, by all accounts, a lucrative period that positioned him at the nexus of global business and diplomacy. However, his relationships during this time, including with the enigmatic figure known as H6, this Chinese person barred from the UK over national security concerns, cast long shadows. And Tugendhat's remarks about Andrew being an idiot over many years seems to encapsulate both personal indiscretions and professional imprudence. And what is this paperwork? Lowney's frustration is palpable. He likens the process to playing some sort of game, with departments denying knowledge, deflecting responsibility, invoking exemptions under the Freedom of Information Act. And this opacity, he notes, rivals even that of the intelligence services. The Foreign Office, for its part, insists it takes its obligations seriously, a statement that inspires as much confidence as a damp umbrella in a storm. Particularly an umbrella that you can't get it up. And the implications here are twofold. First, there's the question of accountability. And as Baroness Margaret Hodge, former chair of the Public Accounts Committee, rightly points out, a publicly funded institution must be subject to scrutiny. And the royal family, while constitutionally protected, cannot reasonably expect to operate entirely beyond the reach of public interest when there's taxpayer money involved. We come back to this umbrella that we can't get up. It's fiddling around with an umbrella while it's pouring down with rain. It's a really good image. Secondly, there's the broader image of trust in governance. If records can simply disappear when it comes to a high-profile figure like Prince Andrew, what hope do ordinary people have in ensuring transparency when there's a problem? Again, we're back to fiddling around with the umbrella. And the Prince's financial arrangements only deepen the intrigue. Reports suggesting that King Charles has stopped Andrew's allowance, leaving questions about how he funds his 30 million royal lodge. Well, assurances from the royal household that his income sources are above board are hardly reassuring when paired with the history of questionable associations and his umbrella fiddling. You have to say, at some point, either that umbrella goes up or goes down. And in the case of Prince Andrew, he can't get it up. This is a man who once described his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein as convenient. There's no convenience at all when you're messing around with an umbrella in the pouring rain. And that is Prince Andrew. It doesn't matter whether he's culpable or whether he's just an idiot. What matters is the image of a senior member of the royal family fiddling around with his equipment in the pouring rain because he doesn't know what he's doing. And you have to ask, has that always been the case? Here we are. Andrew remains a fixture of the royal ecosystem, albeit in a diminished capacity. He was last seen publicly leading the family to chapel in February, a scene that, while symbolic, does little to dispel the air of scandal that clings to him like an ill-fitting coat in a storm. Drip, drip, drip. And Tom Tugendhat was perhaps being generous on GB News in his assessment of the King's handling of Andrew Charles has indeed relegated his brother to the royal fringes, stripping him of titles and access to sensitive information, but it's fringes which are dripping wet. The mere fact that Andrew retains the Royal Lodge, a historic and high-profile property, a property designed for the second son, but it's and the only reason that there's any ambiguity about that is because the former Queen's father and the Queen Mother liked the property so much they retained it, and the Queen Mother moved into it. But it is designed for the second son. So in many ways it is the property that he should have, that Prince Andrew should have, but it suggests that the monarchy is inadequate, that it's not ready to sever the ties that need to be broken, that instead we have to picture Prince Andrew struggling with his umbrella in the rain. What does this mean for the future? Will Andrew fade into the background, quietly maintaining his lifestyle without further scrutiny, or will the persistent questions about his finances and his umbrella, his past and his connection keep dragging him back into the spotlight? For now, we're left with more questions than answers and a lingering sense of frustration over the vanishing paperwork. As Robert Hardman astutely observes, everything about Prince Andrew's situation is confusing. It's a distraction the royal family could do without. And as Christmas approaches and Andrew prepares to appear with the family again at Sandringham, the message seems clear. While the public may demand accountability, the monarchy will always prioritise loyalty. Somebody is there to help him with his umbrella. Somebody can get it up for him, if he can't. And perhaps that's the crux of the story, an institution caught between tradition and transparency, between public accountability and private allegiance. An institution which is quite happy with the spectacle of Andrew struggling with his instrument, with his umbrella, in the rain, and the paperwork all vanished.